Good morning. My name is Travis Crum. I'm the chair of the Property Committee. I'll just speak to you briefly about the roof replacement. As you know, that the kind of primary focus of our capital campaign is the replacement of the flat roofs and the metal copings around its perimeter. That's going to be the roof of the sanctuary, the narthex, the classroom wing, and the kind of bathrooms between the classroom wing and the social hall. So overall, that's about 14,000 square feet of membrane or flat roofs. We have made a down payment on the roofing material in March, and the work to replace the roof will begin on June 14th, in less than 6 weeks approximately. We made a down payment of the roof in March, and the work will begin on June 14th, so in a little less than 6 weeks or so. The work will take approximately 3 weeks to complete. When we're done, we will have a roof that's warranted for 20 years, although we expect for it to last approximately 25 or more. So we think this will be the kind of final discussion we'll have on the roof, hopefully for quite some time. Thank you. Are there any questions? The roof material is PVC. This is, by our research, this is the kind of best and longest lasting membrane roof material that is available.
Any other questions?
Steve, is the replacement roof going to be a flat roof also, or running trusses or any structure?
It's going to be a flat roof, basically kind of working off the existing structural deck that's there. We did look at restructuring the roof so it was pitched, but it really would be a kind of a custom solution to create a pitched roof over the classroom wing that would kind of cost far more than just replacing the membrane. So we think this is a really good solution for us. Thank you.
Now I'd like to introduce Gene Musser from Kirby Smith Associates.
Good morning. I addressed you before I get the enviable job of talking about money today. The reality is that we sent out a proposal to everybody. And I mentioned before when I was up here that one of the first questions people are going to have is, where did that come from? And you could share with folks it came from you. It's either what you put on the feasibility survey if you completed it, or your own giving, and a multiple of that. The purpose of setting out a guideline is for people to give thought and prayer to a campaign. We can't do this with just what's left over, because this has to be in addition to what's already being given to the regular offering. As Travis shared, 2/3 of the effort is for the roof, which is a couple $100,000 that we're really not going to see other than water not coming through the roof. The leadership wanted to do more than just a roof. And through your input on the surveys, came up with the additional items for ministry. So we can't outgive this campaign. The opportunity for ministry here is really exciting. I'm excited for Advent as the outsider looking in, because as many churches try to get back on their feet as the pandemic gets under control, you're well positioned because you've had in service, you've had the video available, and you're looking to grow and expand your ministries at the same time. To make all that happen, though, takes money, and this is the best way to go about that. What's the amount to give? Well, you may remember I said we have about 200 families, 100 of which are not that active, but they're good friends here. And that's the way Christianity is today in mainline churches, is that you have a lot of friends, and that's a great thing because they help as they can and attend periodically. But you have 100 families that are active families. The math is kind of simple. You do 300,000 by 100 families, it's $3,000 a family. The trouble is that that's not in the spirit of equal gifts and equal sacrifice, because not everybody can do that, where others can do more. If you are unable to give that, we appreciate anything you can give. As a consideration, if you're able to do that as a minimum gift, we certainly ask you to do that. And those who can do more, please do more. Kind of on a personal note, I was asked by my pastor when we were in a situation like this in my church a few years back, and my wife and I came up with an amount, and I thought I was being very clever. And I said something like, well, whatever you were thinking of giving, give twice as much, it's only half as much as we need. So driving home, I happened to mention to my wife, what did you put on the pledge card? And she said, I gave twice as much. I thought she was kidding, but she wasn't. So it was the first time we had to really start thinking outside the box. And that's what we're looking for people to do. It was my inspiration, and why I share it with you, is that we gave stock. And now's a great time to give stock. If your stock has appreciated value, you can give it directly to the church. They can sell it, and you don't have to pay capital gains. So if things look a little brighter than you had anticipated in your portfolio, stocks can be a great gift at this time. Another consideration that we were able to do, and you may have the same situation, is a lot of times when you're a younger couple, you get one of those $10,000 policies that you pay up over a period of time, then you don't ever have to pay it again. Well, $10,000 isn't going to make a difference on our estate anymore. That was purchased, 50 years ago to bury us. So we were able to sign that over to the church. And finally, statistically, there's things that you can sell. And in fact, that we're told that we have about $11,000 to $14,000 worth of stuff that we aren't using in our homes or in our storage units. For me, we had moved, and I had a riding tractor. It was a John Deere tractor, and if you've ever had a John Deere riding tractor, you probably love it as much as I did. And so it was hard to depart with, even though I didn't have a yard anymore to cut the grass with. But it finally prompted me to sell that. So there are things that we want you to give consideration for, and that's what the guideline is about, because that's what prayer is about. Prayer is about coming together as a family, talking about God, and sharing your thoughts about where you are in that relationship. And that's what we're hoping everybody will do. In conclusion, I just want to share, people often ask me, how do you do this work? How do you ask people for money? And I said, really, it's quite easy, because I'm inspired by the people that I work with. And two stories that inspired me particularly were from two women, one older and one younger. And just to share them with you briefly, the older woman took a little bit of money that she had. And we know the story of the widow's mite that Jesus shares with us about that she gave from her need. And the mites were coins, M-I-T-E. But this lady was truly M-I-G-H-T. Because she took this little bit of money she had, she bought some yarn, and she crocheted an Afghan. And that Afghan was put up for auction, and it sold for $10,000. Now, I think that's pretty inspiring. And I think that's what Jesus is telling us in that story, that she really inspired everyone else, just like that widow did. Is there any Afghan that's worth $10,000? Probably not. But someone who had the resources to do that was inspired by Sadie's story. The other story I want to share with you quickly is a younger woman, just out of college, mountain of college debt, couldn't hardly consider any gift, but she asked to use the church hall, and she sold 100 tickets at $50 a ticket to do Zumba. I'm not exactly sure what Zumba is, but I know they move a lot. And so she had a free Zumba class, and she went to the local restaurants and had them do a tasting menus of their healthy items, and people got a free lunch. And then she went around to local businesses and got gifts and things like that, and had baskets put together where people could do a drawing. So she did all that and was able to contribute $5,000. Again, a very inspiring story from a young woman who came forward. You have your own stories. I always feel when people say, what should I give? We kind of set a guideline, talking about kind of a minimum to consider. But if you talk to God, you talk to your family, and you give from your need, it will be enough. And that's all you can ask people to do, is just give some thought and prayer. It's not about equal gifts, it's about equal sacrifice. And when we all do that as a community of faith, somehow it all comes together, and it's wonderfully inspiring. And your campaign here is wonderfully inspiring, not only to be dry out of the rain, but more importantly, the ministry is moving forward in the many years to come. So with that, is there any questions for me? Anybody? Yes, sir.
First of all, thank you to all the committee people who've been working for us to help us. I appreciate everything that you guys are doing. I felt a little uncomfortable when the last mailing I got from, where was it? In that mailing, there was a suggestion about how much I should.
Mhm.
And I wanted to know, how did they come up with that amount of money? Where did they come up with the idea that I could give that much money? How were they able to do that?
It was the question that we talked about. Where did that amount come from in the letter that you got? And the amount came from one of two places, and it came from you. It either came from, and I did it, but it came from you. It either came from what you put on the survey. If you completed a survey putting an amount, it's within that range of that amount you put on the survey. If you didn't complete a survey, then based on your giving, it's roughly 2 times your giving, or 1/3 more over a 3-year period of time. That's where that amount comes from.
So, whoever, you were able to look at what I was giving to the Lord,
Yes.
but I never gave anybody permission to do that. And I thought that was just between the Lord and me, not you. And I felt uncomfortable when I received the letter, because I'm thinking, oh,
Right.
I was gonna give more than this, I won't have to give as much now. I'm using that as extreme.
Right. I understand. And I understand your point.
I felt very uncomfortable that there was an amount listed there by whoever did it, and I never knew that they were going to do that. I always thought what I did, my giving was a thing between the Lord and me. It's been like that forever. I appreciate all you're doing, but that didn't make me feel uncomfortable.
I hear you. I hear you. And I think there's probably others that share that. What I'm saying is the reason for that is for people to give thought and prayer to. That's the reason for it. No nefarious reason. It is to give thought and prayer. I understand the relationship that no one, that's why I saw it, that other people in the church don't see it, because of that confidentiality in the church. But the reality is, if you put that amount of money on your income tax, it isn't private. Whatever you give in charity to a nonprofit organization on your income tax is public information. And you probably don't know that, but it is. So what we think is private a lot of times isn't. What we do in the church is we try to maintain that confidentiality. And that may not make you feel any better, but at least I'm hopefully explaining what happened and why it happened and why it's done that way. Anybody else? Good question, and I'm sure other people feel the same way, but that's the reason. And when you think about the fact that you're trying to give people something to think about, word and prayer, and as the man, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, but as the man said, nothing prevents people to give more, and anything that you give is appreciated. It's just simply that point to give thought and prayer. Anything else? Thank you so much, and we greatly appreciate anything that you're able to do through this important campaign.
The campaign co-chair, Jill Dow, is now going to speak. Unfortunately, not in person, because she had her second COVID shot and had a bad reaction to it. So, but she was prepared in advance, so she sent us a recording.
Hi, everyone. This is Jill Dow. If you're watching this video, it means that I'm not feeling well after my COVID vaccination. So I guess that's the bad news, but the good news is that I will be back in person soon with my family, and we've missed being in person very much. So I look forward to seeing everyone in person. But today I want to, on behalf of my co-chair, Charlene Underwood, and the rest of council, I want to thank Gene Musser again for his hard work in helping us to plan this campaign and our goals. And I'd like to thank Travis for getting us up to speed on where we stand with the roof replacement. And I want to thank all of you who have already joined me in making a pledge to the campaign and for all of the support that we've already received. We feel blessed to be part of this faith community, and we see this campaign as an opportunity to advance Advent as a welcoming congregation to all, to be a church where future generations grow and thrive. We adopted the theme of Under This Roof for the campaign because it invoked memories from over the years of our growth in faith as we work side by side with you and so many special and spiritual people at Advent. So above and beyond the funds that we raised for the replacement of the roofs, any funds we receive will be designated to 3 additional areas. The first is outreach and youth ministry. Advent strives to connect with all generations, especially younger families and children and youth. Additional funds will enhance and expand our current ministries in that area. Secondly, additional mortgage payments. Every dollar towards paying down this debt will lower our monthly payments, freeing up funds for ministry, not mortgage. And thirdly, property improvements. As with any property, Advent has continued upkeep and maintenance and repair that needs to be addressed in a quick and proactive manner. Each of you is a gift to Advent, and every contribution will be a blessing to the capital campaign. So we warmly invite you to join us in supporting all that we do under this roof by making a financial commitment. If you have your forms with you today, you can put them in the offering basket, and there should be additional forms in the back if you want to fill one out right now. We would like to have the forms in by May 2nd, which we have dubbed Commitment Sunday, and during which we'll celebrate all that we've gathered so far. So thank you, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.
And now may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. May the Lord look upon you with favor and grant you peace. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Depart in peace, and may the peace of God go with you.